So let's see, rest of the semester. Today is Tuesday, the what, 14th? 14th. So today we're going to just finalize the survey, and then we'll give it out, make it available to give out. So the idea is that distribute it next week or distribute it well, really how close is the survey to being done on Qualtrics?
Give them by tomorrow.
Okay, so then we figured by have it finalized on Thursday. So if we can get between Thursday and next Tuesday or Wednesday before Thanksgiving, if we could get the survey distributed as, you take it all and then as many people as you can get to take it. But then what we'll do is we'll redo we'll go through the results of it the following week. So the week after Thanksgiving. Then we have the review session on Tuesday, the 28th, I think it is. I mean, excuse me, not the November 28th. The next week is what? December, anyways, that's the Tuesday before the last day of class. We have a review session, and then the final is in class on that Thursday. Same format as last time. So I'll give you an article before. It will focus on material that we've done since the midterm, for the most part. But at the same time, it's going to ask you about, it's going to ask you about study designs and about independent variables and dependent variables and things like that. So, you kind of don't be, I will ask about things that we covered before. Let's see. So on Thursday, then I'll give kind of just a regular. There's two other topics I think we need to cover in depth. So one of them is kind of team science, and the other one is translational research. So we'll do that on Thursday, and then probably the following Tuesday, I went looking for a movie. Can't find a good research methods movie. Oppenheimer's not out. I was putting all my hope on that. I looked at Barbie last weekend. Turns out it's not a research methods movie. Who would have guessed? So I think we're just going to have to do a lecture, but we'll do it via Zoom on next Tuesday. And then also remember that I'm gone the week after Thanksgiving, so we'll do a Zoom meetings, Zoom lectures on those days as well. Good. We have one more assignment to do, so I'll give that out to you probably the end of the day today. That will be due after Thanksgiving. Anything else? All right. And Rudy will still be here after Thanksgiving, so he'll be around. So, okay, two things we want to do today. One is to go through the survey, and the other one is to go through the interviews and to figure out how to code qualitative surveys. So just to give you an example of what this looks like, let me find that. I think I showed this to you earlier, but but what we're looking for is we're looking for I'm doing it. There we go. So let me find you an example of the code, just so you know what we're looking for. Okay, so this is what, for another qualitative study that we're doing. This is kind of what the codes, what you're looking for, is you're looking for themes in there. And so the idea behind these things is that they have, you come up with themes that you're getting from the interviews, and then you highlight quotes from the themes. So what I want to do is just basically start to go through this and then pick out themes as we go through. Okay, so let's start with, so this is just an introductory. Okay, so read this part here. Okay, so I have this last part here. What do you get out of this? Anything? Yeah. So that, components of a hard class would be, having to do lots of reading, having to do assignments before, etc. Okay, let's go down and keep reading. How about this one here? How about from starting with do you live on or off campus? Okay, anything out of this one? Yeah, so I think what you want is kind of you want a more higher level type of, like, what's this, a theme is kind of an overarching kind of conclusion from, or summary about what they're saying. It's like, what do you get from this that you might want to think, oh, well, maybe that's an important point when you're thinking about, where you're going to live on campus. Well, I mean, I would think that's an important word, right? Respectful, bonded. So therefore, this sounds like it's a good experience. And it sounds like then being respectful is an important part of having good roommates, and therefore being able to, have a good living situation. So that's a theme, right? That's a theme now. So, you would say theme is good living situation. It would be respectful, would be part of one of the things about it. And that then you could have this as the quote for basically to highlight that. Okay, let's see. How about anything here in this one? Yeah. Yeah, but more general. Yeah, I mean, it's not saying, oh, I go through TikTok at night and it really helps me sleep because it just is so relaxing to watch TikTok, right? Instead, it seems to be saying, it goes on and for too long and I stay a couple minutes and I know my eyes hurt and et cetera. Right. So it seems to be more negative about it. So it'd be something that would sort of say, the overarching theme is that impact of technology on sleep. And it would seem to be, I think that's what then it would be a negative, you would have this negative aspect to it. Okay. How about this one? This here. Yeah. Sure. Is that better? Themes again, screen time, right? Positive or negative? Negative. Uh-huh. Any other themes? Say a lot. Following the, yeah, so positive, negative. Yeah, I mean, it gives a number of things that are kind of, good for sleep too, right? So you could have a theme of helpful things for sleep, and then you would have showering, things like that, right? Would be seem to be things that they're saying contribute to a good night's sleep. Going for walks, etc. So all those, so you have, so within, like a statement like this, you can have different types of themes that come out. So you can have positive theme, the theme, overall theme of, contribute things that help sleeping. Then you have another quote about screens and etc. And let's see. How about this one? Themes. I mean, the way to read it. So, the trick is if you remember like what a qualitative article looks like. Qualitative article has theme, then it has description, and then it has quotes. So when you read through these, you're kind of doing it on two different levels. So one is just to see, are there things that this is picking up that you didn't think of before? And the other one then is that, is there a theme that this is picking up that you can then get a quote out of, so that if you want to report this in a paper, is that you have a quote to kind of report it. Like, this one up here, you know, that one there seems to be, well, I guess it's negative, this thing about screens, but it seems to be sort of a somewhat negative thing about screens. This one up here was definitely a negative thing about screens, about TikToks. This one here seems to be doing some positive things about, actually about what helps with sleep, but also some negative things as well. So that's what you're kind of getting at. So you go down and let's try this. We did this one. So what comes out of this one? Yeah. So this is like, this is neighbors laughing, um, playing videos, screaming in the hall, running down the halls, talking loud, etc. Right? So these are all, remember, this was a environment type of discussion, because we did three different types of discussions, right? We had environment with work, and we had the who's the third one? Environment, work, and distance. Yeah, distance. So this is the environment one. So environment people, you know, are there, does anything in, who is the environment person? Raise your hand. Anything in this quote that's different than what you knew? No, probably not, right? Okay, let's see. So now let's go down. Okay. So this is more on the on-campus experience. Anything in there that suggests it's different than what you thought? Seems not, right? I mean, it seems like this is fairly consistent with what you're talking about. Okay, let's do another one. Let's see. Go down. How about this one? Theme? Hearing nothing. Is that because you don't know the theme, or it's because it's so blaringly obvious that you don't want to say it? I mean, if you know it, this is all pretty, show me with your hands. Say this is all pretty obvious, or I have no idea what it is that this is that we're talking, that you're trying to do. Show me with your, all pretty obvious. Excellent. So on the final theme, I'll give you something like this and ask you to pick out the theme, and then give me the quote that illustrates the theme. Sound good? Excellent. Okay. We can move it over then to this. So time to get into groups again. So environment people, raise your hand. All over there. Distance people. Distance people are mostly over here. And so then you're all work people. So work people. And so, get together with other work people. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the survey. And then what I want you to do is to go through it, look for any errors that you see, that you can find. And then also then go through and see whether the questions that are in there are hitting the things that you had kind of raised. And just to remind you from last time, since hard to believe that some people weren't here last time. There is these were the things that last time we went through. So remember last time we had this, right? And we went through and we picked out questions. So what I did is I took those questions and put them into a survey. So the survey has all three different types of areas. Listening people. Work. Distance. You're all environments. Okay, so start reading through it and just, circle or highlight any type of errors that you see. Anything where the language looks a little weird, go ahead and circle it. And then when you get to the questions, read through the questions, see if they make sense, and then we'll talk about it. You guys all listen.
Can I change the distance for, wisdom?
Oh, it's all the same.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep, they're all the same. Distance, environment, the work, the work people are over here. About done? Nod or shake your head if you're done. Nod or shake. Okay, 2 more minutes. So Rudy is going through and putting together his first chapter of his dissertation. And there are 2 questions that are really important to have in his the data set. One of them is, have you smoked cigarettes more than 30 times in your life? And the other one is, have you smoked cigarettes in the last 30 days, right? And then have you smoked for more than 100 times in your life? Those are the 2 key questions. We did 3 surveys, in 2020, 2021, 2022. When Rudy's been going through the data, is that the questions, have you smoked more than in the last 30 days, it's not there. You know why it's not there? Because we're idiots. At least I'm not Rudy. Rudy wasn't responsible for this because I'm an idiot. Is just forgot to put it in. We put in another question. So what happens when you construct these things, these surveys, is that there's a bunch of people working on it. And typically what people do is they go, if you have multiple people working on it, everyone goes and puts in the questions. And so you'll look, and the survey is like 2 hours long. So then you have to, make the hard decisions about what to cut. And sometimes you do stupid things, like you cut key questions. In fact, I would say that most of the surveys I've done in my career, when you get done with it, you realize that, oh yeah, should have asked that. So sometimes just stupid things like this, just cut the wrong question, right? Other times it's things like you just realize afterwards that, oh, we should have asked that. So one way around this is that one is to go through and to do what you did, which is to read it. And the second thing then is to go through and to say, okay, what's my dependent variables? What's my independent variables? And map it out before you finalize the survey. So first thing we want to do then is go through and just do go through and did you find any mistakes? Are there any questions that seem confusing, etc.? So let's start. Make this bigger so you can see. Anything in here that you found that's yeah. Should be, thank you. Around 15 minutes. Okay. Any other typos? I'll slowly scroll. So stop me when you get to, if there's any typos that you find. Oh, this is probably wrong, right? Because we changed this. However, you will be eligible to enter a draw for a new pillow. Yeah. Oh, because I really want to know. That's why I studied. Okay, anything else on that? Okay. Keep going down. And this language here, this is standard language that the IRB. So if we've gone through IRB, this is standard language that the IRB wants to have included. So that's why so you need to adopt Rudy and to be the contact for person about this. But all this other things institutional review board, et cetera, like that. That's all standard stuff you have to put on. And then notice is that because this is a Qualtrics survey, is that you can just do it this way. You basically, rather than asking them to sign their name, you basically say, if you click to go forward, then you're agreeing to participate. And IRB is fine with that. Anything here? And one thing you have to look at is like, well, are there any other type of categories, people who are not going to be fit into one of these categories? Look okay? Does that look okay? If you want to, we could list all the majors. Okay. So then we'll just have them write in the major and write in the minor. Okay. And list their classes. So one of the problems here is that, and I don't know, yeah. List all the classes you are taking this semester. Now, Rudy, when you write, so ideally what we'd like to do is have them fill in, what their classes are, and then have them automatically transferred down so they don't have to list them again. Is that possible to do in Qualtrics?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll write it so that what they put in there, like, anthro, that then anthro comes here automatically, so we don't have to make them write it again. Yeah. Then here's a scale, yeah. How difficult is each class? You mean this part here? Oh, I see. I guess so. I mean, people can't take more than. How many classes do you normally take? So 5. Well, but I thought if someone has a 2-unit class, then they could take 5 classes. I mean, if they don't list them all, life goes on, right? Because it's be a yeah. So we'll just do it, and then whatever they list, that's what they'll be put down on. So in terms of these, these categories, so what I did is I went to. Let's say I went to this. So I went to this thing here. I think this is in your modules, but that's the way you do it. Is you look at some of these examples, and then that's how you pick out the types of wording, because what you don't want is you don't want to screw up the wording and then make up your own wording and then have a reviewer come back and say, well, wait a minute, this is not clear. So you want to be able to say, well, I used a standard Likert scale type thing. So for all these things, what I tried to do is I tried to look to see, like that's why it says neutral. I mean, on one hand, it's like, what the hell is neutral? But what they do is they use it as a way. So if if you want to sort of be in between somewhere, that they're using a neutral word, because it's hard to figure out what's a neutral word for difficult. So that's why it just signals to people you're in the middle. So that all looks good here in terms of the grades that they're going to expect. Okay. Does that look like it's this question 9 look okay? And any other categories? I mean, I was thinking, well, there might be people who are employed sometimes, not employed other times, like during the semester, like, maybe if you have a job where you work a couple weeks, then you're off, and then you work a couple weeks. Say 11? Well, or even just like, let's say if you work catering for the And so you don't have regular hours, but they'll call you up and they'll say, can you work this Friday night? So then you go work that Friday night. Yeah, so, we could do on call. So currently, so we could say, whoop, come back. So we could say full or part-time with regular hours, full or part-time on call, not regular hours. Like that, would that do it? Okay. Do you work on campus, off campus, or both? If they work then this is how many hours do you normally work? But so just remember this one, because this will be one that we use down below. This is on average during the semester, how many hours do you work at your jobs? Any problem with those questions? What hours do you normally work in your jobs? And do these hours look okay? I mean, if we want to differentiate night shifts to morning shifts to afternoon to evening, does that look like the right? I tried to think, well, would an evening go to 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? Then I thought, well, there might be a lot of restaurant and other works where you normally work until, they close at 10 or close at 9, so you would work till 10. Look okay? Okay. By look okay, it means that you have to live with it, right? So, tiring, mentally and physically tiring. Those were questions that you had in there. Look all right. These are the distance questions. So distance people, does that look like it's getting at what you want? Okay. And overall, how much of an impact? On nights that you don't work, how difficult is it to fall asleep? On days or nights you do work, how difficult is it to fall asleep? Those ones look okay, work people? On average, how difficult? So this is if not, so you notice that these are all questions here that just for people who are employed. And then this is for people who are not employed. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is that if you are not employed, then you just skip down. But we'll do if you're one of these two, then you get these questions. So that's why some people won't get a very long survey at all, because it'll just be right. Okay. How much time does it normally take to get to work? So here, non-employed. And so then these are back to questions for everyone. So on off campus, does that look like the right question to differentiate people? Okay. So then separate out the questions by whether you live on campus or not. So on campus, I was thinking, well, who would have no roommates on campus? And I think, isn't it just mainly just RAs would be the only ones? Does everyone else have roommates on campus? Say a lot of. Oh, are there singles? Okay, so there could be singles that, all right. So we have noise in the halls, outdoor noise, activities of roommate, activities of neighbors, alarms, or sirens, or other. Is there any other big categories? Yeah. Uh-huh. How many roommates do you currently? Right. And more than three, is that, I mean, like how many roommates do people normally have? Yeah, so then, so they'll be, I mean, if it's 2 to 3, and so if they have three, they're only gonna have three roommates then. Is that right? So should we just separate out this, are there 3-person rooms? Okay, so how, what if we separate these things out like this? And do it this way, 3 or more. Okay. Any other categories that we should include? No. Okay, if you're living off campus, do these hit all the categories? Family, alone, with roommates? Yeah. Okay, so, and do you want to do, if roommates, do you want to then do you know them? You know, did you know them before you moved in versus not? Okay. Then for off campus, does this look like, will this distance people, will this kind of catch what you want in terms of when they come to campus? Say like, yeah. Oh, how often do you, or what, it's really what time, right? What time do you normally leave to go to campus? How long does it currently take you to get to campus? Okay. Where you currently live, how disruptive to your sleep is the following? Now, notice that I took out here, like noise, amount of noise in the halls because, if you're in a house, it's just sort of, I mean, you're in a house and this is for people who live, so, because you could have roommates, right? So, well, yeah, let's see, so this is the roommates one down here. So that's right. So this is, I should be more clear. So this is if living off campus alone, like that. Well, I'm sorry. With living off campus alone, right? And then this is if living with family. Does that all look okay? Where you currently live, how disruptive use. So outdoor noise, activities of family members, activities of neighbors, alarms or sirens. Anything else to include about when you live off campus? All right. If you live with roommates, let's see, so you want to know, 21, did you know your roommates before moving into room with them? Does that get at the question? And so then what if they knew some of them? So do you want to, we can say no, did not know any, knew some of them, knew all of them. Would that do it? So, so you have, did not No. Anyway, for some reason, on this survey, the default language is Spanish. So I have to keep on changing the default language to English. So new some of them all or new all of the limits. So is that it? Right? Okay. Where you currently live, how disruptive. So that's the same thing. Only rather than activities of family members, it just says activities of roommates. Okay, then is there some noise or disturbance to you? If there's some, when does it usually occur? So this one is then, try to break up when they get woken up. Because there was an interview that, one of the interviews talked about how they live with a family and their father gets up at 4 a.m. So wakes them up every time he gets up. So try to capture that. Anything else? Does that look okay? Okay. So then this is the one where looking at the this sort of, if they have an early class, trying to get up the trade-off between sleep and going to class. So if you had a class that was not mandatory, if you had trouble sleeping the night before, how likely is that you would not go to class to get some additional sleep? Does that capture the question, what the trade-off? If it was mandatory, would your answer differ? So should we put in the mandatory one? Okay, so we'll do the same question if the class was mandatory. So then we'll highlight it was not mandatory. So I put these ones in because I was putting this together. I thought, well, maybe people think non-mandatory classes means you don't have to go. Is that right? So I thought, well, because, I think before COVID, it's like we never had this. Before COVID, I didn't know anyone who required that you come to class, right? After COVID, like how many of your classes, how many have classes where it's mandatory to attend? 2. So if you have 4 classes, like for this semester, so you have just one class that's all you're taking, or just one class that's mandatory? That's non-mandatory? Everything else is mandatory. Really? So, and I got to thinking, well, maybe what people are doing now is they're thinking non-mandatory means that you don't have to come. So maybe what's changed is that it's like, they're thinking is that, so is that true? Show me if it's true. Show me if you think non-mandatory means you don't have to come. Really? Wow. Can we pause and discuss that concept for a second? Why would non-mandatory mean, what other reason? So like I could make this mandatory that you come, right? Why do you think I don't make it mandatory that you come? What was that? Yeah, because you're adults. I shouldn't have to take a role for you to come to class, right? You're adults and you're going to university. So if you don't want to come to class, you don't have to come to class. But, what I try to do is I try to make it so that, and it's clear, is that if you don't come to class, it's that you don't do as well. So, but that's a choice. But I guess that what I started realizing that I was putting this together is that, well, maybe it's flipped now. So maybe now people think non-mandatory means that I come every Tuesday and Thursday just to kind of, chat. And it's not important to come to class. So does that mean, that's why I wanted to put in this question. So what would you prefer? Would you prefer that all classes are mandatory or non-mandatory? So if you had to vote, Would you say, I want all classes mandatory or all classes non-mandatory? So why do you want them all mandatory? Forces you to come to class. Mhm. Mhm. And for those who say non-mandatory, why? Well, it's the same thing with, it's the same kind of debate I have when I think about Zooming the lectures and recording them, right? On one hand, I think, oh, if I don't record them, then it makes it more likely that people have to come to class, right? On the other hand, I think to myself, so wait, I'm going to take away a source of information because I want people to come to class. And yet, it's kind of like, well, it's your choice whether to come to class or not, right? So that's where, when I started to get into this, I started thinking is that, well, so this not coming to class thing for sleep thing becomes a bit more complicated, because then it's not just like this trade-off between coming to class or not coming to class, but you then have to, kind of start thinking about, the sort of the mandatory versus non-mandatory aspects of it. What's that mean? So does this get at these concepts? Is there anything else you want to ask about people to understand the trade-offs? Or put it this way, is there anything else that we should ask that for me to understand the trade-offs that people are making? Like, what other questions would you want to ask that get at this trade-off people are making between coming to class or not coming to class? Yeah. Well, if they carpool. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna do for the different people, like, okay, for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I choose because of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have money to run, and I don't really.
Right. Yeah. And parking. Or, yeah, either bus or. Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I think it's kind of bad that they charge people to park, because I think space is not an issue here, right? It's not like and it's not like people who are not students here are going to say, I think I'll drive out to UC Merced and go park out there today, right? So it's not like that's going to happen. So instead, I mean, the same thing for faculty. We have to pay a lot to park, right, on campus. I always thought, if you're working in downtown San Francisco, I can see why they charge you to park, right? Because on the other hand, parking not really an issue here. I think that their major expense for parking is the people that go around and give you tickets. In fact, this is going to be off topic, but I have to tell you, I was reading this article about a book that just came out where someone has talked about parking in cities, and they're making the point that there are actually really good technologies to have people park. For example, like the things they use on the bridges in San Francisco where they can look at your license plate. Well, they could do the same thing here. They could just set those things up, and that you come in, and that they would then automatically charge you for it. They would just, and so if you're a student, then you could go in, and so they could easily set that thing up. And same with cities. For cities, they don't have to have parking meters. They could easily set up everything just to be remote like that. And the reason they don't is, what do you think? Because they make so much money off of parking fines. And it turns out that one of the big groups that they make money off of is Amazon and FedEx and all the delivery companies. So what these delivery companies do is that they make deals that allow them to pay a lesser fine in order so that they can just double park and go in. So, because otherwise, they would get ticketed all the time. So instead, so that's why, UC Merced could do the same thing, right? Rather than fine you $63 a day if you're parking without a parking permit, they could just, put little sensors up and just monitor your car when they go in. Okay, my rant's over. Any other questions that we need to ask them? So do you want to put in questions about on those days that you know, what are factors that, maybe that's the way to do it. What, yeah, the importance of factors that determine whether or not you come to class or not. Okay, so let's see. So how important in general, how important are each of these factors in determining whether or not you come to campus or class? I mean, because you're not going to come, I mean, would you, like, if you had a morning class and afternoon class, would you sit there and say, oh, screw it, I'm not going to do the afternoon class, I'll do the morning class? Or would you just think, I'm not going to bother coming at all? So do you do it like on a day thing that you're not going to come, or do you do it just on a per class thing? Okay. Come to class. And so then okay, so factors would be cost of parking, bus, or gas. You want to separate those things out? I mean, you want to, like, you know, I mean, is parking going to be a bigger issue than gas, or is gas going to be a bigger issue than parking, or is it all pretty much the same? It's all just cost. Other factors? Weather. I mean, like on rainy days, are you less likely? Okay. Weather, rainy. Other things, yeah. Carpool. Carpool problems. Carpool problems. Anything else? Car problems. So just, okay. So, well, do you want to do like car problems, or do you want to do like, because there's probably also issues like, you know, if you have children, you have to take your children to school or something like that. So there could be like, is there a more general category for like other life events, something like that? Well, how would you frame it? Yeah. So child care responsibilities. Do you want to do then family responsibilities? Family or friend responsibilities? Did that do it? Anything else? Anything come out of the interviews that you did? All right. Okay, then this one, question 40, this is the Pittsburgh Sleep Scale or questionnaire. So that one's all just the questionnaire. Then this is the stress questionnaire. Say it louder. Help us understand what factors impact your sleep. Impact your sleep. It's like, okay. So then that's just the questionnaire. This is a general health questionnaire. And this is, so their age, gender, ethnicity. See, I took this from a questionnaire. I used the basics of the questions from a questionnaire that a graduate student did and was looking at people in the region. So he broke it out by lots of different type of categories. So should we keep those or just do Hispanic Latino? So okay. Get rid of all these ones then. Okay. Language you speak at home. Current marital status. And do you have children? Good. And then finally, giving the pillows away. What's that? That didn't pop up? Oh, was it the wrong? Okay, anyways, that's on there. But then we're also going to put something about, about sort of thank you for taking the survey, and then do something on someone's going to look up information from about the sleep. Right? Someone is also supposed to look up questions about predictors of sleep patterns, but that didn't happen. But someone was going to get, who was it that was going to look up information about that, get information about that, about the, where you can get the sleep kits and things like that? Yeah. Thank you for admitting it. I appreciate it. But how about if we just say, then contact them? So once you send, if you could just send me their name, then I'll just say, if you're having trouble, if you'd like to talk, having trouble sleeping, contact them, and that they can, help you. Does that sound good? Well, tell us by Wednesday, because we just need a statement to put in here that basically just directs people who are having sleep problems to something. So just go ahead and put it in there. Okay. All right. Okay, then. So then we have them give their email address, and then we'll give them a pillow. We'll do it. And you realize is that, there probably aren't going to be that many people take it. So, and you're all going to take it. So you might walk out of here with a pillow. Well, this next semester. Yeah. Yeah. Not the flash $45 pillow, of course. All right. Anything else on this? Yeah. This one here. Is it to go to class? Okay. Yeah. No, they may be a double major. No. Okay. So how about if we do this? What are your majors like that? Okay. And what are your minors? Good. Okay. So on the final, just be aware what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you about what are dependent variables and independent variables off of this. So, and then we'll go through it. So the timing from this is that we'll get this ready by Wednesday. We'll send you the link. Then once you all take it, but then also want you to send it out to people, other students that can take it. How many people do you think can get other students to take this? Okay, how many students do you think you can, how many others do you think you can get to take it? 4, 2, 3, 5, okay, great. As long as we can get, a number of them, so we have a good enough sample. Sound good? No, you can have that. See,